Hi guys, my name is Medina and I'm your host. Welcome to Momentum Podcast. I'm so excited for you to be here, guys. This week I came across a video from the Balanced Black Girl podcast and I really wanted to put my own take on it. I feel like it's just something that I was like, I need to speak about this with other people. And yeah, the topic's about vulnerability and it's really interesting. She talks about being 50-50 with men. She talks about her sexual assault and how that's impacted her created trauma responses in her life and just stuff that I really, really relate to. So yeah, guys, I'm going to let you guys watch some of the clips and then I will put my
Yeah.
commentary.
And asking for help doesn't make you helpless.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Does make you helpless.
Have you had to learn how to ask for help?
Yeah, because I know all the answers. Not like I have to ask for help from a therapist, but I famously said 50-50 or bust, right? And and I meant that in every financially, spiritually, emotionally. And there's just a lot of days that I have 10% and I need him to be 90. There's days I don't have shit and I need him to be 100. And I realized that so much of, my anxiety, I was diagnosed with PTSD after being sexually assaulted at 19. The extreme anxiety, the anxiety attacks, the being hyper-focused on efficiency and time and being fiercely independent are trauma responses. And when I started to really unpack that, a couple years ago, I was a part of my girlfriend Octavia Spencer's show, Truth Be Told, and it was about girls in the Bay Area where I was sexually assaulted, Black girls, brown girls in the Bay going through this. And there was the culmination was on the courthouse steps of the Alameda County Courthouse, the same courthouse I testified in front of the grand jury. And something in me broke, just broke. And I'm not even one of those people who can cry on cue, child. I'm like, bring in the menthol. But something in me broke. And it felt wild. I am a very controlled person. And I was going home every day crying to my husband. And he's like, who is this person? And I was remembering smells, sounds, feelings that my brain, thank God, had blocked out for, it was 92. So how many years is that? It's going to be 33 years. Had blocked out. And it came back in a whoosh. And I realized so much more about myself and what I survived and the power of your brain and the power of your body. But I was ready to finally deal with all of it and start the work on releasing the new things that came up. But part of that work that I'm still working on is that trauma response. Timing myself doing the dishes, like timing everything. And when people are late, it's rude, but it makes me feel like you hate me, that you want something terrible to happen to me. It's not just, you got caught in traffic. It's you want something terrible to happen to me. Because as long as I can control time, as long as, as my brain is constantly moving and I'm thinking of every scenario, and people are like, oh, you're so quick-witted. I'm like, no, I thought about this question a billion times. It's a trauma response. It's never wanting to be so out of control. I don't have control over what is happening to my body. And 50-50 is I'm not going to be vulnerable enough to trust you with 100% of anything. Not my heart, not my cash, not my, my energy. And when I started to really address that, and I was like, do you want to pay the whole mortgage? I thought I was about to die. I had such anxiety. Like I was crying, I was shaking. And he was like, yeah, you insisted on that. He's like, I thought it made you feel better. I'm like, it did. And right now I want to take it back, but let's just try for a month. And I was like, I couldn't, like, it felt like there was something blocking in my, from even swallowing or breathing. It felt crazy. Now it sounds crazy to be like, you, Mr. NBA superstar, who made a bazillion more amount of money than I do, can pay the mortgage, because I hate the feeling of releasing that to someone. And you release that to someone, chaos can happen. And so these are baby steps. Now, did I settle on about 35% of the more, instead of 50? Sure. But, I'm trying to, okay, you got it. And it's brought us closer, because he knows it's not about whether he can afford it. It's being vulnerable enough to be open enough to know that I'm okay. I'm okay as his wife. I'm okay. He's okay as my husband. I'm okay in this family. I'm okay in this home. I deserve it. And I'm okay. And no matter how much I want to try to control time or people or every situation by overthinking about every single thing that could possibly happen that never happens, I'm not any safer. I'm not any further along. If anything, I've made my life and my world smaller. And so I'm trying to expand my heart, expand all of the notions of what vulnerability can look like. And I'm saving a lot of money, really, is what it gets down. No, but it feels good to, I don't know, relinquish some of the things that I really thought kept me safe. It's like my security blanket.
Hi guys, so this first segment is of Gabrielle Union talking about how she struggled with vulnerability, specifically asking for help from her husband, and how this was a trauma response because of the sexual assault she endured at 19. She told us that she was then diagnosed with PTSD, which led to extreme anxiety. It led to her controlling time. It led to her what was the other thing she said? Hypervigilance and hyper independence. And with all those things, I feel like I can definitely relate to that. I also went through sexual assault at 19. I was also diagnosed with PTSD, and I could see how that would naturally impact your marriage or relationship. For me, it showed up first initially at work, where I'd have managers ask me, what support do you need? What help can I provide you? And I'd be like, no, I'm cool. But in the background, I am struggling. I'm fighting for my life. But I will not let anyone ever know that, because if I let someone know that, then it's like I'm letting them see my weaknesses. I'm letting them see that I am not in control. And if I'm not in control, then I'm vulnerable to threats or chaos or pain. And obviously that's really heightened because it's just a job, especially in the field that I have been doing. I've been in working with victims of trafficking. So it's not a corporate job that requires deadlines and all of that, but it's like they care about you. So for me to feel that level of like, I can't come to them didn't really make any sense. But again, I can completely relate to what Gabrielle Union was talking about, where she was like, she had to keep going. She had to keep her mind occupied. She had to keep busy. She had to keep control, because if at any moment she let that control go, she was susceptible to violation from any place. And obviously, you don't think like this if you haven't endured trauma or any form of like PTSD. You don't think that far. You're not trying to track every single move that you make. So that first clip, like, I remember her saying that she also struggled with her husband. I think she had a moment where she said back in the day 50-50, and obviously at the time no one wants to do 50-50 with their man, like especially if your man is, for her, it's an NBA player who's making millions, and she is an actress, she's doing great for herself, but she still wanted to go 50-50, not because he couldn't provide, not because he couldn't lead, but because she wanted to like sustain that control over her life. And I can completely hear that, because even in my life I've been like that with partners where I kind of like it if they're broke. I'll be real. Like I'm like, okay, cool, don't worry, we got this. Not because I'm like, oh, like I'm noble, but because it's come from a place of they can never really have me, all, all of me, because they can't actually maintain me in that way. And obviously this is me talking from the past, like when you're in uni or whatever, when everyone's broke. But it's almost like now I'm an adult and I'm with somebody that actually can take care of me. It's a struggle, because to let that person lead, to me, feels like a personal attack. It feels like they're beating me up. It feels like they are they're putting a knife to my throat. And I had to ask myself through therapy as well, but I had to ask myself, why does it feel like such an attack? Why does the person that you know is safe, that you know cares about you, why does that feel like they are hurting you when they're not? Physically, they're not hurting you. Emotionally, they're not hurting you. They just want to take up the role that you also want, which is like gender roles for women and men. Um, and I had to ask myself that, and it was essentially because it's like, if someone is leading you and you've never been led before, you don't know how to manage that. You don't know how to control that situation. Um, and if someone that's led you in the past, like an adult before, has violated that, has abused that control or that leadership, then you're not willing to let someone else do that again. And it's, I just struggled so much because I was responding from a 5 or 6 year old or 7 year old Medina who didn't want to be violated or hurt. Whereas my adult self now isn't going to be, it's just someone taking care of me in a safe way. So for anyone going through that, I had to ask myself, in moments of arguments or moments where your body's starting to feel tense or frustrated, who is responding at this time? Is it the 6 year old Medina or the 6 year old you? Or is it the 28-year-old or 25-year-old you that needs to respond in that moment? And yeah, that's something that was really important. Another aspect to Gabrielle's take on vulnerability was that she said that she was fiercely independent. Again, this is to do with the fact that when you are violated in that way, whether it's rape or sexual harassment or sexual violence, it does take that, it makes you not want to trust people again, like in that way where you rely on them or lean on them in any capacity. So you do become hyper independent. And for me, I remember as the oldest daughter as well, I don't know if Gabrielle was the oldest daughter, but I know for me that being an oldest daughter has meant that I was again second mummy, which meant that I had to grow up very quickly. And anyone that is like that, you already know what it is. It's having to take on responsibilities in the household for with finances, with childcare, with like the food cooking, with like just anything regarding being a parent or an adult before you are actually an adult or a parent. Um, and I remember being 16 and taking my brother to school and running to college and then coming home and picking him up and like making dinner and all of this. I would never, all of this, sorry, I would do all over again. I do not regret anything. I understand what my position was and I knew it was purposeful and I wanted to help out my family. But in hindsight now, looking at it, that made me extremely independent. It made me extremely independent because I'm running from here to there to this and doing this and that. And it's all because I want to look after the people that I love. But obviously at the time, being the eldest, no one's necessarily looking after you. You're kind of just doing what needs to be done. So I can definitely relate with being fiercely independent. Now, having that in adulthood, where again, someone wants to take care of you, whether it's your friend that wants to buy you food or like a family member that wants to provide some support for you in whatever capacity, you denying that and being like, no, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. You're constantly always good. You're always up to par. There's nothing that's wrong with you. You're in a state of constantly being clean or good or perfect is a sign and a trauma response. That you have probably got some post-traumatic stress. And yeah, so I can definitely relate to the hyper independence and not allowing anyone to disappoint you. I think that's a really big one for me. I haven't given my heart to a lot of people because I'm like, I don't have the space or capacity for you to disappoint me. Because if you do, I'm going to break and I don't know how far I can. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pick myself up. Sorry. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get myself to a position of getting back up from this. And that may be dramatic, but if you're 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, life feels a lot like it's about you. And like in those moments, you feel like nothing else is important and you feel like, um, you just feel like life's gonna end if you're not patterned up or you feel like you're not gonna achieve certain things if they don't happen right now. And so for me, I didn't lean on anyone and I wanted to do everything by myself because that's how I'd operated in the past and that's what worked for me in the past. but it doesn't necessarily work in adulthood. So I think the things that I've done to try and take myself away from that is to, I think I've generally tried to let people slowly but surely, I've relinquished control in some ways. I've given people time to take care of me, whether it, again, I said it's buying food, or I just had a really amazing birthday last year, or letting my friends do that for me. I never let my friends do anything for me in regards to doing something big, like a birthday celebration, and organizing that. Like, that was really big for me. And I felt extreme love. And the reward was me feeling less alone and having connection. But that, you would never know that if you don't allow someone to have that vulnerable side of you and saying, you know what, I'm going to, even if I get disappointed, I'm just going to let it happen. So I feel like, yeah, hyper independence is not necessary in large and extreme quantities in adulthood, because you need people and you need community, and that's what's going to make your life worth living at the end of the day. Um, so don't let your trauma response get in the way of your joy or happiness. The last kind of segment to this clip I want to like talk about is something she said really key at the end. She said that all these scenarios pretty much do not make us any more safer or closer to what we, they don't get us closer to what we actually want, which is connection, which is love, which is to feel at peace, which is to experience joy with our people. So the constant, like for her, she said that she felt under attack when someone was late. She felt like you physically hated her because you're late. And for me, I felt like it was a personal attack when people disappointed me, when people left me or abandoned me, not from anything serious. It might be someone cancelling a day out with my friends, or it might be a family member saying they're not coming over, or it might be a partner that says that they aren't able to meet this need. For me, it felt like a personal attack, like you were attacking me because you weren't able to meet that, when essentially it wasn't that. It's that your childhood self is responding from that place of like fear, is responding from the place of feeling like they they can't they can't function pretty much because someone has left them in terms of disappointed them, or someone has not kept their time. And whatever it is for you, Gabrielle has said to pretty much make it that you let go of that, give yourself an opportunity to be vulnerable. So for her, it was accepting, I guess, when people are late, and that it wasn't that they hated her, it was that they were just simply late, and it may be rude, but it's not life threatening. And for me, it's, if somebody disappoints me or lets me down, it's not because they hate me and I'm unworthy of that love, or that they are going to screw me over. They had the plan to screw me over in the long run. It was, they simply couldn't meet that need at that time. And that doesn't negate everything else that they've done that has met my need and has looked after me. So whatever it is for you, we're gonna work through it, and we're gonna make sure that you get past it. Um, so yeah, I feel like the main issues with vulnerability that I'm still working through is allowing someone to lead me, is allowing someone to take charge, because I've taken charge for 20 plus years, and for someone to walk in and say, I'm the person that's going to lead you, it's probably the hardest thing I've had to do in my adult relationship life. um, because all I've known is myself. All I've known is what makes sense to me. And for someone who's wiser, who loves me and is safe, to come in and say, like, I'm gonna take your hand and we're gonna go through life together. It may sound sweet and romantic and beautiful to someone, like, oh, I wish I had that. But for someone that's operating in hypervigilance and independence, and like, I've got my own back no matter what, no one's ever gonna violate me. So I'm never going to let anyone that close enough to get to know me in that way. It's terrifying over here. Like, I'm scared, genuinely scared when someone, like, with past partners or current partners, I've been terrified because I've just been like, what do you mean you're going to take control? I take control. I'm the boss of me. And obviously, it doesn't make sense because I actually want someone to take control. I actually want someone to love me. I actually want someone to be there for me and to do that leadership role. But because of the patterns that I've kind of built up over time due to not letting people in, it just made it that it's been a struggle. and we're working through it daily. We're getting there. And if anyone relates in the sense of like letting a man lead you after being hyper independent, then let me know what tactics you're using, because right now it's prayer and it's letting the person have small parts of your life where they can take charge, where you don't have to control that. So like I said, if it's buying you something, if it's taking you into a certain place, if it's saying trust me, I've got this, and you actually have to trust them and let them have it, and swallow whatever pride or stress that you may feel like, all the worst case scenarios that you've conjured up in your mind and said, you know what, like this is the worst thing I can do, which is let someone in. You have to let that go, because deep down inside you truly want happiness, you truly want someone to take care of you. So you've got to stick to the core of what you want. Your actual desire, your deep desire, is to be loved and wanted. And so if that's what you want, then you need to stick to that core element, not how you feel or how your body is reacting to something that's different, or the habits that you've carried through life and have kept you safe up until now. It's no longer keeping you safe, it's keeping you trapped, and it's keeping you in a cycle of loneliness. So yeah, my take on this is be vulnerable, guys. We are all trying. I'm trying, but please be vulnerable, because your 10-year-old self is going to thank you, because she's going to look at your 20-year-old self, or your 30-year-old self, or your 40-year-old self, or your 50-year-old self and say, thank you so much for being vulnerable, because to the right person, because now we are better, now we are healed, now we are loving, and now we are loved freely. Um, so I hope this makes any form of sense. I don't know if it does, but if it has made sense, the aim is just to be vulnerable. The aim is just to love on others, give yourself time, small increments of your heart, of your time, of your energy into the right direction will build up that trust and that ability to say, you know what, you are, or you may disappoint me, but that doesn't mean you are a disappointing person, or that doesn't mean I am not worthy of your love now because you've disappointed me and you do it again. It just means that you're growing and the other person is growing. And it means that you don't need to have that much control over yourself, because it's debilitating. It makes you, like I said, alone. It makes you feel alone, makes you physically alone. And yeah, it's not worth it. But yeah, this is just to the people that want to be more vulnerable and want to experience the other side of trauma responses. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so grateful. And I hope that you've taken something from this. And I hope that you've enjoyed my commentary and my segments. I'll catch you next week.